Hey guys, by the end of this short presentation, I'm willing to bet you this $100 bill that you can eat foods like these while still breaking just about every other fat loss rule that's out there that us guys hate and still burn belly fat, get in amazing shape, and quite honestly, still get the six-pack abs that you've been after. Deal? Now, right now, it's about 11:45 p.m. here in Santa Barbara, California. It's almost midnight, it's getting late, I'm tired, and I'm just hanging out relaxing with my lovely wife. But I'm about to break the #1 diet rule that is out there known to mankind. You know what that rule is? Well, before I tell you what the rule is, let me preface it with something. This diet rule is a diet rule that just about every single man that I have ever met that desires to have six-pack abs would love to break. But for some crazy reason, they've been led to believe that if they break this rule, they'll never be able to get the six-pack abs that they want, or they'll never be able to reach their goals. Well, between you and I break this rule every single night. And somehow, I don't store all of these massive calories as body fat. No, in fact, quite the opposite happens. My body uses these calories as energy for muscle growth and keep me lean too. In fact, this is how I stay lean 365 days per year. So it brings me back to the original question. What is this #1 fat loss diet rule that us guys have to pay attention to if we ever want to get in good shape? And how am I able to break this stupid rule every single night and still be in amazing shape and have better abs than most of the other guys that are out there? Well, for those of you that notice the visual cues that I've laid out for you, the #1 fat loss diet rule that is false is eating late at night. More so, eating high carb, high fat, high calorie foods at night. That sounds familiar, right? Wrong. Most of you are probably shocked to hear this in general, and it's okay, because quite honestly, it's what most nutrition experts or what money-driven trainers have really led us to believe. And why have they led us to believe this? Money. You see, they know that abiding by rules is tough. They know that 95% of guys out there will not be able to stick to the rules. Guys like you and I are gonna fall off the bandwagon because there's too many rules. Guys don't like the structure. We don't like those rules. And that's exactly how they're making money off of us. And I'm gonna put a stop to it. How? With science. No more listening to geared up bodybuilders who have been on roids for most of their adult lives. Honestly, the only science these powerlifters and meathead bros are using are steroids. So can we truly trust what they're saying? In reality, they're cheaters who are willing to sacrifice their ability to have sex, their ability to have a family, and even sacrificing their organ health to get in shape. Now, listen, I know you want to burn belly fat bad, but going to extreme measures and using things like steroids and jeopardizing your organ health and your ability to have a family are no way to go. Are we clear on that? Good. Now you're probably wondering, is Thomas just a liar like these other nutrition experts that are out there? Is he truly legit? Is this really science? Or is this just he said, she said nonsense that's out there? Well, let me tell you, I put my reputation on the line with every single word that I say. Everything I reveal to you in this presentation is going to be backed by science. I will be able to point you to a scholarly article, a peer-reviewed journal, or a university study that backs up everything that I say in this presentation. Now, you're probably guessing that I work out 2 to 3 hours per day, and you're probably thinking that this entire presentation is gonna tell you to work out that much. No and no. Quite honestly, the clients that I work with end up working out for 15, maybe 20 minutes just a few times per week. Now, you're also probably wondering if this is just a cheat meal. This is probably something that Thomas eats once per month and he's just laying it out here so that it looks like he eats this all the time. Nope, this is legitimately what I can eat every single day. That's the beauty of how this works and the beauty of understanding science. So to those guys who've been blindly following a low calorie, super low fat, restrictive diet all this time, this may sound unbelievable. But is it? Really? When you think about it, let me ask you this. All this time that you've been following the rules, that you've been listening to the myths and you've been abiding by the strict rules that we're supposed to follow in order to get six-pack abs, have you gotten results? And are you truly enjoying life by skipping out on all the foods that you truly enjoy? No way. Here's the thing, before you discredit me, before you disclaim everything that I have to say, give me and science a chance. Because I want to point out the details. I want to point out the science and I want to lay it out in front of you in a way that you understand. And I'm going to take you through a day in my life and show you what I do on a daily basis so that you know what my life is like and how it can work for you too. Right now, I want to show you live footage of what I do on a daily basis and the rules that I break every single day. And then after that, I'm going to break it down with the science. And I'm going to show you exactly why I did what I did. So go ahead and watch this. I'm going to get back to eating my delicious food and hanging out with my wife. So I'll see you soon.
Now, even though I've broken the golden diet rule of not eating past 8 p.m. last night, and the foods I ate were far from the typical diet foods you'd expect a guy like me to be eating, it's pretty obvious to see that eating a ton of calories late at night didn't affect me at all. I'm not bloated. I don't have any excess belly fat. In fact, I'm getting leaner by the minute. You see, although I just woke up, I'm going to immediately start my day by breaking the number 2 biggest false diet rule, which is to never skip breakfast. Now I get it. To some who have been preached this diet rule their entire life, this may sound completely backwards. But skipping breakfast is actually one of the key ways that I'm able to trigger my body to burn exponentially more fat. And despite what you have been told about skipping breakfast, doing so sharpens mental focus, improves hormonal balance, and most importantly, calibrates your metabolism to burn stored body fat for fuel. You may also be wondering, do I feel hungry? Actually, no. Drinking water with a dash of Himalayan salt keeps my body nourished with the minerals that I need to overcome the hunger signals. I'll have at least 8 ounces every 2 hours. I'll also enjoy a cup or 2 of coffee as I'm starting my day. The natural caffeine helps regulate insulin that prevents fat storage. It also suppresses appetite and further boosts your fat-burning metabolism. This is my intermittent fasting lifestyle. And this science-based form of fasting is the most profound discovery I've ever made. It's what made what was once impossible for me a reality. It's given me the freedom to enjoy the foods I love without the consequences or guilt. It's provided a way for me to feel less stressed and become more productive, allowing me to improve the way I see myself as a man. It's given me confidence, a driven mindset, and a way to finally live in my dream body with ease. And the best part of it all? It's achieved without having to bust my ass in the gym for hours every day. I only train 3 times per week. And if it happens to be a scheduled workout day, like today, I can do it right at home. Because in order to get the results like this, you don't need fancy equipment. The body is the only machine that you need. And fine-tuning it takes no more than 25 minutes in the morning. 3 workouts a week doesn't sound like much, but training in a fasted state means that you're gonna be capitalizing on your fat-burning mechanism and you're gonna be doing double the fat-burning work. This way, I'm able to tap into stored calories that were formerly inaccessible and mobilize the fat cells to be burned directly because there's no food in their way. And because you're only training 3 days a week, the muscular and nervous system are able to recover much faster. You're keeping the body and the mind fresh and sharp and able to recover. Now, I believe only in full body workouts, using time under tension as my secret weapon. No more split body parts. You see, I don't count reps. Instead, I focus on maximizing the length of time that my muscles are under stress. This allows the breakdown of what is called glycogen out of my muscles so that when it's time to start eating later in the day, the fuel is shuttled and stored here and not as body fat. And since I stick with full body workouts, I'm breaking down far more glycogen out of my muscles than I would if I were doing strictly isolation exercises like boring bicep curls all day. Training upper and lower body in the same session also triggers what's called the lymphatic system to remove fat cells and waste from storage to be burned more effectively. During workouts, that salt water that I've been drinking throughout the day and the salt water that I referenced earlier has other powerful effects. It increases muscle contractions and delivers a tremendous pump effect during my workouts, keeping my endurance at an all-time high. Now, the salt allows me to stay adequately hydrated, but also improves the electrical pathways between my mind and the muscle, better known as the mind-muscle connection, something that Arnold Schwarzenegger used to talk about. Now, to extend and accelerate the fat-burning effects from the fasted state training even further, I'm gonna break the number 3 biggest diet rule. We're just breaking rules left and right. And that rule is eating small meals every 2 to 3 hours. You've heard this one before, right? Well, not only will I skip out on eating small meals every few hours, I won't actually eat again until probably about 4 p.m. I'll fresh it up and go about my day with work or events I have planned with my friends and family. And at 4 p.m., I'll break my fast and enjoy my first meal of the day, which is where I break diet rule number 4. And that's the one that you must follow a low-calorie, low-carb, low-fat diet. Everyone knows the portion control rule, right? Well, instead, I'll be doing the complete opposite by eating a ton of calories in one sitting. Crazy, right? It's about 800 calories. And it's loaded with carbohydrates, fats, and protein. You see, carbs and fats are not the enemy, everyone. They are vital macronutrients that your body needs to sustain muscle mass, to support your metabolism, and promote your hormones. We're talking hormones like testosterone, for example, and even other hormones that help your body grow and burn fat. Now, unlike other diets that require you to cook, to prepare, and to eat the same boring meals 4 to 5 times per day, I only require myself to eat one uniquely prepared meal that consists of the calorie-dense, carbohydrate-rich, and fat-packed foods that I love. And for the remainder of the day, I usually just play it by ear. I just kind of wing it. I might sit down and enjoy an amazing dinner that my wife makes because honestly, she's a better cook than I am. Or maybe we'll head out to our favorite restaurant for dinner. With so much flexibility, I honestly don't really feel like I'm following a regimen at all, and that's why I'm able to sustain it. However, by changing when I eat, I'm giving my body time during the day to naturally burn stored fat on its own. It's really not magic. I'm just taking advantage of the science of human biology. You see, our bodies are genetically engineered to be efficient fat burners. And in order to transform your metabolism, all you have to do is change when you're eating. And by doing so, you'll have the freedom to enjoy the foods that you love while still losing the body fat and getting the ripped body and the six-pack abs that you've always wanted. This is the power of intermittent fasting. And this is how I go about my everyday life. This is how I'm able to eat the foods that I love up until like midnight if I feel like it. Enjoying life in my dream body with the people I love the most without following some restrictive diet or some boring exercise plan. That's why I consider this science-based approach to intermittent fasting the greatest discovery of, quite honestly, my personal life. This is the definition of having your cake and eating it too, almost literally. Now, let me ask you, after seeing a day in my life and how I maintain my body, would you agree that this lifestyle is pretty darn easygoing and stress-free? No longer having to worry about what to eat during the day, or when you'll have time to spend hours in the kitchen preparing boring diet meals. Instead, only needing to prepare one simple yet quite satisfying meal to ignite your metabolism and trigger a cascading effect of fat loss hormones that are going to do the work for you. They're the catalyst for your fat burning. Reducing your workouts down to just 2 to 3 times per week at the most. And not having to spend hours working out either, just like 25 minutes. And of course, allowing yourself to eat late at night again, like we did as kids, with no worries or no guilt. So let me ask you again, can you handle living a normal life without the strict diets and finally accomplish your one life-changing goal of getting six-pack abs? Your answer better be a hell yes. Listen, I'm someone who has failed at what seems to be like every diet out there. I've been the guy who is completely lost on what and how I should eat to see results. I've followed advice from the gurus and experienced the frustration and the disappointment that maybe getting a fit, healthy body may never actually happen for me. So if you're anything like me, take a look into the science behind intermittent fasting. It honestly might just change your life the same way that it truly did for me. I'm not just talking about appearance. This scientific approach to eating has study upon study backing its effectiveness, not to mention the myriad of other benefits. You'll be more clear and focused, be more energetic, and seeing and feeling your stomach shrink within the first week will make you more motivated than you could ever possibly imagine. You'll have more confidence, and with each day that passes, you're going to be far more secure with who you are as a man. But honestly, man, how many times have you told yourself, this is the day? This is the day I get in shape, the day I do something about my weight. Have you lost count at this point? Enduring countless efforts where you spent your hard-earned money on diet plans or grueling workout programs just to find that they're nearly impossible to follow, let alone be able to follow your everyday schedule around with it. Now, you've got shopping for food, cooking, preparing meals in advance, and making time for the gym, day in and day out. Trying to stay on an eating schedule while you're swamped enough as it is during the day, all while trying to overcome the brutal muscle soreness, the cramps, and the stiffness in your body from doing extreme workouts. Let's be realistic. At this age, where we are focused on building the foundation for our future, it's hard enough to have any free time for ourselves. Never mind having to add more rules, more strict guidelines, and even more accountability to our already stressful day-to-day lives. That never gets any easier. Now, like many guys in their mid-20s to early 30s, we are all looking to make progress in our careers, trying to build a comfortable life for ourselves and maybe for our future families. But it's just so damn difficult to find the drive and the motivation when you're not truly satisfied with how you look physically. There is that connection there. And even if we aren't comfortable admitting it, how we see ourselves is a humongous driving force in our ability to become successful in all walks of life. Which is why most guys have this innate ambition to strive, to look, and to feel fit. It's basic instinct, really. And after all is said and done, when the results of your efforts never arrive, you blame yourself. What did I do wrong? Am I eating the right food for my body type? Should I be eating more protein? Are my portions too big or are they too small? Should I just start doing more cardio? Is this what my life has come to? You really start resorting to negativity, and it can really affect you. Desperately trying to see results only to face the feeling that maybe you just don't have the genetics or the time to have an admirable physique. How infuriating is it to look at the same body in the mirror every morning and have no clue what you're doing wrong? And right now is the prime of your life, yet physically, you're light years away from it. And every day when you look in the mirror, it's this constant reminder. Every time you relax your stomach, you feel the tightness on your waistline. You can feel the deep impression mark that your belt's leaving on your belly that's bulging over your pants, your slacks, your jeans. And you're starting to realize that repeating the same cycle of on again, off again, dieting that you've tried for years is physically and mentally draining you. With every new fad that's out there or new fad approach that you try, you're subconsciously convincing yourself that maybe you aren't cut out to be the fit guy. The truth is, trying to get rid of your belly fat without a real plan can seem quite impossible. And adding strict, tough to follow diets like I mentioned in your already busy day-to-day life, it's just gonna make you wanna quit your health and fitness goals. It's gonna make you wanna stop driving for what you've been going for. And that's like what most guys have been doing. And if you're in your late 20s like I am, or even your early 30s, and maybe you're starting a new family, forget about having time to hassle with dieting. That's the cold hard truth. And maybe you're starting to think getting the body you really want is just for those rich guys who have no responsibilities except for posting on Instagram about how they have hours and hours of free time to train every day and promoting stuff that only works for them. It's this natural, polished reality that we're seeing all over social media. Honestly, that's time that you just don't have. You're a real person. Now you're a smart guy. But what's more important about you than just your intelligence is that you care. You care about who you are and who you represent. And more importantly, you care about what your life will be like in the near future if you don't do something about your health, about your belly fat, and your weight loss goals soon. It's a revelation that I had to come to. Just think, if you can't get rid of your belly fat and get in shape now, can you imagine how difficult it's going to be once you're even older and much more busy with your career and life? With me, just having a new kid, I'm really realizing how much more difficult it is. And that's time that I took for granted before. And what about being able to attract that one special girl that you've got your eyes on? Seeing all her attention given to some other guy when you know deep down inside you're far more capable of making her happy like she deserves. But how can you justify that you're the right guy for her when you're not even happy with the way you look in the first place? It's simple science. You need to feel good about yourself to have success in other areas. You see, without a fit, eye-catching body, you can be left feeling unnoticed. You might feel unwanted, and you're going to feel unsure of yourself as a man. And as this issue of self-doubt arises, you begin missing out on events. You miss out on parties because there's a chance you may have to take your shirt off, and that's no way to live. Can you imagine the feeling of attending a pool or a lake get-together and having a beautiful girl ask why you're not taking your shirt off? It's embarrassing. You'd feel petrified, and that's the only word to describe that. Now, you may also be thinking, I don't have that much belly fat. I look more like your sort of average guy. But let me ask you this. Are you really satisfied with getting graded with a C average by women, by your friends, or by your boss at work? I know we've all been told that looks don't matter, and there's some truth to that. But really, who are we kidding? Of course our appearance matters. In fact, looking and feeling great changes the entire course and experience of your life. It changes the directive. Ask yourself honestly, do you want to live through life never knowing the potential of what the best looking you can be and the life that comes with being your most confident self? Is this how you want to live the rest of your life? Honestly, I know I wouldn't. And you know what? I didn't. That's why I want to show you how you can make this change for yourself immediately within your own life today. Listen, man, maybe these concerns that weigh a lot of guys down are already happening to you. Or perhaps you already are feeling like it's too late, or you're too far gone to really make that change that you need to. But I want to tell you this. Your first step to getting rid of the weight of the emotional pain starts with two things. One, don't blame yourself for your current situation. It's kind of not your fault. It's simply that you were never shown what men juggling a career, the pressure to succeed, and all of life's other curveballs have to do in order to get in shape. What real men have to do. Two, you need to let go of everything you think you know about fat loss and do something completely different from what you've tried before. Literally the opposite. I'm talking about doing things such as eating late at night and not worrying about eating breakfast and even breaking the whole you've got to eat every 2 hours rule. Now, with that being said, I'm not telling you that you can just blindly starve yourself for hours during the day so that you can eat donuts and pizza all night long. Even though I do have my fair share of junk food now and then, what you will first need to understand is a scientific blueprint of why you must adjust when you eat, not necessarily what you eat, in order to see results in as little as just a couple of weeks. It's called nutrient timing. And you're also going to need to know the precise fasting and eating period timeframes to follow that are going to optimize your metabolism and therefore optimize your life. And you're going to submit your body into its natural fat burning state. Additionally, you must know the exact macronutrient ratios to eat that are going to allow you to extend the effects of your natural fat burning state for hours and hours on end. So you can accelerate your weight loss goals even further, faster. I'll be sharing these exact details with you right after I break down those 4 so-called diet rules that most of us have tried sticking to. And I'm going to give you the scientific proof on why you need to start breaking them today, not tomorrow. But before I go into the rules, I want to formally introduce myself. My name is Thomas DeLauer. And the reason why I understand how you feel and what you've gone through in your attempts to lose weight is because before I became the most #1 subscribed trainer on SixPackAbs.com, before I had ever landed cover spots on the most influential fitness magazines, before I advanced myself from an average employee to a CEO of not only my personal brand, but DL Media and a couple of other organizations, and before I ever started changing the lives of hundreds of guys that are in the same predicament as you, I was that depressed, insecure, and frustrated guy that I told you about earlier. You see, when I was in my late teens, I started to develop some pretty bad eating habits. I got picked on a bit, and I was bullied, and it was mostly for being chubby. In fact, this is what drove my interest to get into the fitness field at such a young age. I wanted to make a change because it felt like something I could take control of, and it would allow me to feel better about myself if I could just figure out how to build an appearance that others would actually respect. But I guess you could say that the bullying was taking a bigger toll than I had really realized. The emotional stress caused me to seek comfort in eating the foods that tasted the best to me at that time. And by my early adulthood, I was already experiencing high blood pressure, high cholesterol, elevated liver enzymes, and it was all from years of unhealthy eating. I was also starting to battle with chronic joint pain, especially in my knees. That made doing cardio or any form of exercise for that matter pretty darn difficult. I had let myself get to almost 300 pounds. And to this day, I still often look at that picture taken of me at my sister's wedding. And it was when I was at my very, very worst. I remember how uncomfortable I felt in my own skin. Hell, I couldn't even find a tux that fit me when I was 279 pounds. I just went there in a dress shirt and a vest and a coat that kind of draped over my shoulders. Just remember telling myself, this is the best that I can do. And the best that I could do wasn't anything to be proud of at all. Now, at that time, I was with my high school sweetheart. She's now my wife and the mother of my first child. And even though my wife was with me during this dark period of my life, and she encouraged me that she was attracted to me no matter what, I was so absorbed with how bad I looked, I couldn't even accept her love. It put a major strain on our relationship, and it had to do with how I perceived myself. My low self-esteem was draining the life out of me. My career wasn't doing much better. In fact, it was the toughest time of my professional career. I was trying to get started in the healthcare industry, yet ironically, I was at my unhealthiest. My appearance was creating this big mental barrier for me. I mean, what company in their right mind, and I know this as a business owner now, would want their healthcare service represented by someone who could barely tie their shoes without getting winded? At that point, it was embedded in my mind that I just could not excel. It was like a glass ceiling was over my head. It was clouding my perception on life, holding me back from any dream of success that I ever could have had. And worst of all, it was that I couldn't figure out what I needed to do to break away from this trap. Every day at work, I felt unnoticed. Heck, not even just at work, but it seemed like I was getting passed up on every promotion or opportunity by guys who were just more upbeat or had a little bit more of a respectable appearance. I'll put it to you like this. If you were an executive, would you depend on the 279-pound, out-of-shape guy who appears to be lazy and unsure of himself? Or would you depend on the confident, well-put-together, visibly fit guy that other men admire and aspire to be? I reached a point where I felt ashamed of who I had let myself become. And in the back of my mind, my tough childhood and my teenage years were just this constant reminder that life was never going to be easy for me, and that I would always be faced with these difficult roads. I had a family to keep together. I had a career to uphold. All the while, I was losing my own health. It's not like I didn't try to make a change. I mean, I did a lot of things. I tried doing protein shakes. I tried eating more salads. I tried eating every 2 hours like you're supposed to. Heck, I tried everything that the fitness gurus preached, like eating every 2 hours, like I mentioned. I remember loading up on the healthy, expensive groceries every single week, going to the organic grocery stores, getting in my kitchen, and just feeling lost. I spend hours and hours cooking boring tasting, healthy meals and packing them into Tupperware only to watch them sit in my refrigerator and just go to waste. The ironic thing is that I was in the healthcare industry. I knew what foods I should be eating, but it was so difficult to put it together. And even when I brought my pre-made meals to work with me, my schedule was so busy that I didn't have time to be chowing down meals every few hours like the fitness pros were advocating. I wasn't a fitness pro. I was a regular guy. So I knew that this wasn't going to work. Then I tried low calories. I figured less calories, less body fat, right? It makes kind of sense, but I was wrong. I would restrict myself from eating large meals throughout the day and tried sticking with small random snacks instead. But by the end of the day, when I'd get home, I'd be so hungry that I'd just binge on whatever I could get my hands on. I'd raid the pantry. Starving myself made my food cravings get out of control. I lost a little weight, but really not too much. And to make matters worse, I started doing tons of cardio to try to balance out the binge eating. My knees were aching so bad from the impact of jogging that I couldn't take it anymore, and that just slowed down my workouts even more. I've always been kind of a nonconformist. I mean, it was just the way that I was raised. So I started putting my head together, and I started really diving into research and thinking that really fasting might just be the way to do this, to go against the grain of what most people say is typical. I got frustrated to the point where I said to hell with all of it. None of the advice that I tried following was making much of a difference. But not seeing the results I expected was just the tip of the iceberg. It made my day-to-day life miserable. I felt like I was forcing myself into feeling like a failure because not a single thing I tried ever felt like it was something I could really stick to, something that was sustainable. It was like I was walking straight into this brick wall. And it was in that frustrating moment that I realized I was going to have to make my own rules. I knew that if I was going to make a change, I was going to have to develop my own method, not just follow some cookie-cutter generic advice that quite honestly just drove me freaking crazy. I needed something that was actually practical to follow, that fit with my schedule, and that didn't make me feel like a failure if I enjoyed the foods that I loved from time to time. Most importantly, a method that had science behind it, not just bro science. I came out of the healthcare background. I wanted some legit science. I know how the body works. So for a while, I sort of just put all the conventional fat loss advice on the back burner and tried to focus on what just felt natural and right. As I was doing my own investigation behind the science of weight loss, I started doing what just felt natural and what was really just easy to do. I decided I wasn't going to waste loads of cash at the grocery store each week and slave away in the kitchen making meals that I never wanted to eat in the first place. I also knew that I wasn't going to stress myself out by force feeding myself every few hours when I was busy at work and I had other things to focus on. Nor was I going to follow a restrictive diet or do grueling hours of cardio. That is just ludicrous and crazy. I just wanted to do what felt easiest for me, with minimal stress and minimal effort. So what ended up happening was I'd skip breakfast. I'd pass up lunch. Then by the time I get home from work, I sort of just ate normally. And to my surprise, I was actually seeing some results within the first week. I mean, it wasn't anything to brag about, trust me, but I felt less stressed, I felt more focused and clear-headed. My body seemed less bloated, and I was far better off than I was when I was trying to follow a conventional diet and follow conventional advice. At that time, I didn't actually realize that what I was doing was something called intermittent fasting. I was just doing what was natural. But after a few solid weeks of not eating during the day and then filling up in the evening hours, I was actually seeing and feeling results that I never would have expected. My stomach was shrinking. My energy levels were through the roof. I was mentally sharp and I could focus for longer periods of time, which was critical for my career. And my cravings for food were slim to none. So then I looked into the research behind fasting. And to my surprise, I discovered that I was onto something that wasn't just going to change my perspective on fat loss, but that it would completely reshape the way that other guys could experience results without making these drastic changes that you would always need to make. I leveraged a lot of my resources in the healthcare industry and with physicians that I knew about how fasting works and how it's been around for years and years and years. I started diving into as many peer-reviewed studies as I could to try to really figure it out. And I learned that getting my body to burn fat was as simple as changing when I ate, not so much what I ate, which completely contradicted all of the weight loss advice that I'd ever been given. But through my research findings, I discovered that by not eating during the day, I was giving my body a chance to actually burn my stored adipose tissue or body fat for energy. Unlike before, when I was eating every few hours, my body was constantly stuck digesting and absorbing food. So it never had time to burn fat on its own. It's really so simple. So by the time I'd get home after a long, busy day at work, whatever I chose to fill up on didn't make a negative impact at all. And that's because I was literally retraining the way that my body burned and stored fat. After my first month, my friends and family and coworkers couldn't really believe it. I was getting compliments like never before, and the crazy part is what I was doing wasn't hard. There wasn't a catch, there wasn't much of a sacrifice, but there was undeniable evidence that fasting truly works. So naturally, I was hooked on learning more about the science behind fasting and started digging deeper into the research even more. And in doing so, I learned a trick to make the fat-burning power of fasting even greater. You see, even though it's entirely possible to not eat during the day and pig out in the evening for a few hours and still lose weight, there's a specific way that you can break your fast that makes fat loss occur even faster. It's a simple thing called nutrient timing. You see, when you break your fast with certain key nutrients, you can program your hormones to extend the fat-burning effects from fasting even longer. So I experimented with these nutrient ratios for a while myself. And after a few months, I locked in what I thought was the perfect combination to make my body a fat-burning machine. What happened next is history. I went from 279 pounds to where I am now, at about 187 pounds and feeling good. My clothes that used to barely fit now sagged off of me. I was punching new holes in my belts just to keep my pants up, and everyone was actually noticing. My confidence was growing more each and every day. The in-shape guys that I used to look to for advice started asking me what I was doing just because it was kind of incredible. And when I would tell them, they couldn't believe what they were hearing. But everything I told them wasn't just a theory or a new diet fad. Everything I was doing was based on pure scientific fact. Because the truth is, our bodies are equipped to be fat-burning machines. All I did was figure out the mechanics of how to reach our natural fat-burning state. And the easiest, most efficient way to do that is simply by intermittent fasting. It's not some weight loss gimmick or a trend. Hell, it's not even really a diet. There's all kinds of diets out there that can help you with inflammation and things like that. Heck, I've authored them. But this is just a scheduled pattern of when to eat and when not to. And by taking advantage of the science of how our hormones and our endocrine system work to burn and store fat, I was able to reach my fittest state yet. But from that point on, my life changed forever. I've been asked to be in all kinds of magazines. It's in Muscle and Fitness, I've been in Muscle and Performance, Ironman, Natural Muscle Magazine, tons. I had tons of career advancements. I was in the healthcare industry, I had an ancillary lab services company, I became the CEO of my own brand, formed a production company where I create amazing videos on YouTube, and I started multiple coaching and consultation programs for other guys who wore the same shoes that I used to wear. From this life-changing experience, I discovered why it's so important for guys who want to lose weight to break the rules, just like I did. Be a nonconformist. In fact, through studying fasting, I can prove why guys who are stuck following the typical diet rules usually struggle to see results. Let's start with rule number 1. Never eat past 9 p.m. Why did I break this rule? Well, it's simple. I don't have time to hassle with prepping meals and stopping to eat 3 to 4 times per day when I'm busy at work. So for me, I found it way easier to just skip breakfast and lunch. It helped me stay focused at work too. And by the time I got home at night, I'd fill up on food when I actually had the chance to enjoy eating it. Now, if you've ever tried to lose weight before, I'm sure you've heard that eating at night will make you gain weight. The reason being that if you eat before bedtime, you won't be actively burning calories while you sleep. Therefore, you'll just store food as body fat. Does that sound familiar? Well, I hate to break it to you, but that's not the way it works. It's not always true. You see, if you're constantly eating during the day and you pig out at nighttime, well then yes, logically you would pack on fat. But if you keep your insulin levels minimal throughout the course of the day by not eating, your body will burn through the calories you already have stored, meaning you'll have the freedom to chow down on your favorite foods without gaining weight during the nighttime. In fact, if you time your eating periods just right, you can actually lose weight by eating what you want in the evening. Plus, by not eating for 16-hour periods, your stomach shrinks. It's called distensibility, which means that when it comes time to fill up on food, you'll actually be shocked to find out that you get fuller much faster, which in itself helps you consume less calories. I'll get more into how to properly time your eating window for optimal fat loss in just a minute after I bust the rest of these diet myths. Okay, diet rule number 2, don't skip breakfast. I started skipping breakfast because it saved me time, to be honest. But when I started digging into research, I realized that eating breakfast doesn't actually prove to speed up your metabolism like most of us have falsely been told. In fact, studies show that people who eat breakfast in the morning are actually hungrier throughout the day. Again, it has to do with insulin. So here's the truth about eating breakfast. When you eat first thing in the morning, you're actually causing your insulin levels to rise. Insulin is the hormone responsible for fat storage. So if we crank our insulin levels up first thing in the morning, we are putting our bodies in a fat storing mode right out the gate. Now, however, when we skip breakfast, our insulin stays low. And when our insulin levels are low, we can tap into our stored body fat and therefore use it for fuel. Which brings me to rule number 3, and that's that you need to be eating 5 or 6 small meals throughout the course of the day to lose weight. I personally threw this rule out the window for one reason only. And that's the fact that I didn't have time for it. I couldn't prep all the time and I couldn't eat these meals. I mean, any busy guy will tell you that having to stop what he's doing every 2 to 3 hours to choke down a boring diet meal isn't something he enjoys doing. Plus, it breaks your continuity of thought. It's hard to stay productive when you're constantly interrupting yourself to eat. Not to mention the prep work that you have to do to make sure you have 3 healthy meals pre-made and packed when you go to work. It's a huge pain. But fortunately, for guys who want to lose weight, it's not a necessary evil like most of us have been led to believe. And all ties back to insulin, that master fat-storing hormone. When you eat every 2 to 3 hours, you're in what's called a fed state, or I like to call it the absorptive phase. In this state, your insulin level remains high all day long, which means you're practically in fat-storing mode all day. Because you're constantly eating, you never give your body a chance to reach its natural fat-burning state. And like I mentioned earlier, we need to have low insulin levels in order to achieve that. And finally, rule number 4, you have to change what you eat to lose weight. We've all heard it before. Cut your carbs, go low fat, eat less calories. Day in and day out we hear it. Every diet under the sun has some sort of restriction on what types of foods you can eat and what you can't eat in order to see results. And I understand. It's happened to me before too, and I've created programs that talk about that. But for me, sacrificing the enjoyment of food wasn't really the way that I wanted to live my life. Most diets condition you to feel guilty about eating the foods you love or cause you to feel like you're a failure when you give in to temptation and splurge a little. I've created programs that cut foods out for inflammation. That's a whole different ballgame. I'm talking about sustainability and doing this long term. I think that fundamentally, this is the reason why traditional diets don't work. But like I said, fasting isn't a diet. It's not a program. It's more of a way of scheduling the time frame in which you eat so you can reach your natural fat burning state. That means that in order to see results, you don't have to restrict yourself from eating the food you love. You just have to modify when it is that you eat it. Now, I'm not saying that you should take up fasting so you can eat ice cream and Twinkies every night, because even though you may still lose some weight, it's not going to be healthy and you're going to trigger all kinds of inflammatory cytokines in your body. There's a very specific balance which I'll share with you in just a few minutes. But right now, I want to bust another common fitness rule that's outside the realm of dieting. It actually has to do with working out. Now, if you've ever been to the gym or you've watched someone work out before, then chances are you've noticed that the most common way to train is by performing exercise for a set of reps. Most guys are so focused on hitting a certain number of reps that they miss out on the most important factor when it comes to developing a chiseled physique. And that factor is called time under tension, TUT for short. It describes how long the muscle is truly under work or under stress. And research has shown that focusing on the amount of time your muscles are working allows you to maximize more muscle growth in comparison to training with rep counting. We a lot of times stop ourselves at a given set of reps simply because it's where we set the goal. But that's why time under tension is so important. And because the more time under tension that you're placing the muscle under, generally the greater the growth hormone release will be. And more growth hormone means more muscle building, and that means more fat loss. Second, the next benefit to this training method is that by working on bringing up your total time under tension, you'll help the muscles learn to deal with a higher level of fatigue. They're adapting. When you concentrate on performing exercises for 20, 30, or even 60 seconds at a time, you'll be depleting the muscle of the resources that it has. And the more that you do this, the greater its ability to deal with fatigue will become. Plus, fully depleting your muscle glycogen, which are the carbohydrates that are stored in your muscles, means that when you come out of your workout session, you'll have burned off far more stored calories than you would have if you were sticking to counting reps, especially just doing things like boring bicep curls. Now, when it's time to refuel on food, guess where that new energy is going to be stored? It's going to go right to your muscle bellies. That's where. So if you're looking to burn the greatest amount of body fat while also building a defined physique, you need to concentrate on the time your muscles are under tension. You need to stop worrying about how many reps you're doing. Plus, if you incorporate time under tension workouts to your fasting schedule, you'll be able to advance your results big time. And that's because in the fastest state, you'll already be giving your body a chance to burn off stored calories. But when you throw time under tension workouts into the mix, you're going to be doubling the burn and shedding calories at an accelerated rate. It's pretty awesome. And here's the best part about combining time under tension training with fasting. You don't need a gym. You don't need any equipment. And you don't need any more than 20 minutes. I used to spend so much time in the gym and it drove me crazy. Now I'd much rather just be at home or outside. You just need your body weight and a timer for these. Now, if you are finally ready to experience real results and get the ripped, defined six-pack abs that you've always wanted, I'm going to have to ask you to break the rules too, with intermittent fasting. That means starting with just 3 days a week, you'll begin following a set schedule of when to eat and when not to eat. I call this the 16-8, which simply means fasting for 16 hours and eating for 8 hours. Here's how easy it is to get started. On those 3 days, you'll simply skip breakfast, lunch, and break your fast at 4 p.m. And then at 4 p.m. until midnight, you'll be able to enjoy your own meals of choice or follow my delicious meal plan. On the other 4 days of the week that you are not fasting, you can eat how you would normally eat. It's honestly that simple. Now, you may be wondering, 16 hours is a long time to fast. How will I overcome the hunger and the food cravings during that fasting period? First of all, remember that you'll be sleeping for half of that time, so you really only have to go without eating for like 8 hours for that 16-hour period. And believe it or not, after a few days of fasting, you'll actually be less hungry. And this is because when you fast, that distensibility kicks in when your stomach shrinks. And as your stomach shrinks, so do the hunger hormone signals that trigger the natural feelings of hunger. Plus, by shrinking your stomach with intermittent fasting, you'll be restoring its natural elasticity and flattening your midsection in the process. Another thing to remember is the idea of craving food all the time is a mental trick we play on ourselves. You see, eating frequently, or the need to feel full in general, is a habit that we as humans have created ourselves, and it's the root cause to why so many of us are heavier than where we should be. Now, another concern you may have is the mental and physical tiredness or lack of energy from not eating. Now, this is going to come as a surprise to you, but fasting actually works to increase your energy. And that's because your body sees fasting as a form of stress. The body responds to stress via the release of adrenaline, a person's natural fight or flight hormone. These are called catecholamines. And when your body enters that fight or flight mode, you feel awake, you feel alert, and you're ready for action. The adrenal response to fasting also helps to explain why fasting is so darn effective for fat loss, because adrenaline helps you drive energy stores such as fat and muscle glycogen out of storage and into the bloodstream to maintain energy output and blood sugar levels. You can almost think of adrenaline as another one of the key hormones that unlocks that stored body fat. It's like if you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, you need to kick into gear and be able to run fast. Your body's going to burn fat then. Furthermore, this extra adrenaline explains how fasting boosts your energy, your focus, your concentration, rather than just inhibiting them, meaning that you won't need to rely on sugary energy drinks to keep you sharp or to run away from that tiger. With fasting, all the hormones are really in a healthy balance. So how about muscle mass? Won't fasting cause muscle to weaken and shrink? If this style of eating sounds like a great way to disintegrate muscle tissue, I totally understand. It does sound like it on the surface. I used to think the same thing. In fact, I once believed that in order to build a lean body, I had to eat protein every few hours, just like you probably do. Otherwise, I would probably lose the little muscle that I had and I'd wreck my metabolism. But after looking into the research, I realized that wasn't really true at all. See, your body's an incredibly efficient machine, and we can't try to outsmart it. It just wants to preserve muscle. It doesn't necessarily want to burn it. And under normal circumstances, no serious muscle loss can occur until you fast for periods longer than 72 hours at a time. And even then, it's minimal. What's even more surprising is that fasting can actually help you put on more lean muscle. And you got to hear me out on this. It's because when you fast, your human growth hormone levels skyrocket. This is the hormone that allows us to build muscle, improve bone strength, and yes, better utilize stored body fat as a fuel for the body. Think of it like this. You want to store firewood to burn in your fireplace when winter arrives because it's going to be cold. So over the warm months, you pack lots of firewood away in your storage unit. In fact, you have so much you don't even have room for all the wood you store, so it's spilling out of storage. But when winter comes and you're ready to burn your wood, you immediately chop up your sofa and throw that into the fireplace. Sounds pretty foolish, right? Why would we assume our body is also that foolish? Quite honestly, the hormones and the catecholamines in our body are smarter than us. The logical thing to do is to start burning the stored wood, not your couch. In the case of the body, we start to burn the stored food, fat stores, instead of burning precious muscle, the couch. Because our bodies are naturally designed to survive in the most efficient way possible, plain and simple. Plus, as a bonus, fasting naturally increases your HGH levels and allows you to actually build and sustain lean muscle during fasting periods. And this is where working out can come in and even skyrocket your results more. Working out in a fasted state, especially in the morning, allows you to capitalize on the time frame in which your human growth hormone levels are at their natural peak. For this reason, I've included 3 full body workouts for you to do right from your home each and every week. According to research, when we train using our body weight as resistance at a greater frequency, meaning with less rest, we cause our bodies to release greater amounts of growth hormone, plain and simple. And that's exactly why all of my workouts use the time under tension principle. By performing exercises for intervals of time instead of just counting reps, you're gonna get the most out of every movement. You're gonna burn more stored energy and you're gonna get that greater growth hormone boost that you need for lean muscle growth. Another concern you may have regarding fasting is the social acceptance factor, and it makes perfect sense. What other people will think when I tell them that I'm fasting for 16 hours. Well, actually, it's more socially acceptable and convenient than any other eating style. Since you'll be busy with work or school during the earlier hours of the day, you'll find that it's much easier to stay focused on your task at hand instead of worrying about what you'll be eating for lunch. In addition, come late afternoon, my intermittent fasting protocol allows you to enjoy eating relatively freely from 4 p.m. to midnight. That means you can meet up with your friends, you can meet up with your family and coworkers after your busy day is over and reward yourself with your favorite food without feeling guilty about it. Plus, my plan only has you fasting for 3 days a week when you first start out. So on days you aren't fasting, like the weekends, if you so choose, you'll be free to be social and eat freely without having to be on any scheduled eating plan at all. In my opinion, there's no better way to lose weight while maintaining a social life than intermittent fasting. But I'll tell you from experience, you're probably starting to realize how powerful changing when you eat can truly be when it comes to reaching your weight loss goals in a way that actually fits your lifestyle. But the benefits of fasting go beyond getting leaner and more built. Fasting is like pushing the reset button on your body. A detoxification process kind of occurs. Any toxins that are stored in your body's body fat are dissolved and they're removed from the body. We store toxins in our fat. So therefore, you're improving your immunity. You're helping your immune system. After a few days of fasting, higher levels of endorphins, those are the feel-good hormones that are produced in the blood that have a positive impact on our mental well-being, those all begin to increase. And your insulin will become more stable. And as a result, your testosterone levels will rise, allowing you to actually continue to develop a more defined appearance that you can be proud of and that others are gonna respect. Here's how you can make my fasting protocol a part of your weekly routine. First, pick 3 days a week that you'd like to fast on. In order to reap the full benefits of fasting, you must start fasting for a minimum of 16 hours and follow that with an 8-hour eating period. With my protocol, I've made it easy. On your fasting days, you wake up, you skip breakfast, you skip lunch, and then you start eating at 4 p.m. You can eat up until about midnight, at which point you'll resume your fast. If you go to bed earlier, no big deal, it's less eating. Ideally, on your fasting days, you'll start your morning with one of my 20-minute shred fast workouts. Working out in the morning is best because it allows you to take advantage of your peak fat burning and muscle building state, since your HGH levels are naturally at their highest anyway. Plus, your metabolism is going to be on fire, meaning you're going to plow through more calories during your fasting period than if you were to save your workout for the evening during your eating period. Now, during your fasting period, there's a few things you need to make sure of. First off, you need to drink a minimum of 8 8-ounce glasses of water. Add a dash of pink Himalayan salt to your water intake to help you retain the vital minerals that your body needs to maintain optimal function. You can also drink black coffee and tea, which is going to help suppress your appetite, and it's going to up your energy levels even more during your fasting periods. And when it comes time for you to break your fast, I built in my fast break strategy right into the plan. This is a scientific approach to breaking your fast by fueling your body with the nutrients that are best for your hormones. This strategy is just one of the ways that my intermittent fasting protocol is far different than any other you may have heard or read about. But that's just one of many different ways that my plan differs. And I'll get into the details in just a bit. So, in a normal fasting protocol, there's no progression plan. You're more or less just told to restrict yourself for a period of time and then to eat freely for another period of time. Problem is, without carefully progressing into a dietary change like this, you can cause serious metabolic damage if you just jump into fasting for long periods without giving your body time to get accustomed to the change. So for this reason, my protocol provides a 3-phase plan where you'll start out only fasting for 3 days a week. Then in phase 2, you bump it up to 4 days. And then in the final phase, you'll fast for 5 days per week. This is going to give your body some time to get accustomed to the change. It's going to allow your metabolism to gradually get stronger and faster, turning into a fully equipped fat-burning machine as safely as humanly possible. Now, another factor that we have to consider is that normal fasting protocols are either too strict on what you should eat during your eating periods, or they aren't strict enough, which can cost you your results, plain and simple. Here's the thing. If you're new to dieting, being required to prep healthy meals can be more of a hassle and stressor to make you just say, screw it, forget it all. Not every guy has time to do that, but there are a lot of fasting plans out there that require you to follow a highly specific diet during your eating period on fasting days. And for many guys, it's just not practical. It wasn't for me. On the other hand, there are fasting plans out there that'll tell you to eat just whatever you want during your eating periods. And while honestly, you can see some results by eating whatever you want, you can also slow your results and damage your insulin levels if you break your fast with pure garbage. It's for that reason why my intermittent fasting protocol gives you 2 distinct fasting plans, the base track and the fast track. Now the base track and the fast track are nearly identical except when it comes to your eating periods on the fasting days. The base track is the flexible approach. It allows you to eat what you want during your eating window, and as long as you stay within a calorie limit that I recommend for fat loss, you'll probably be fine. So it's perfect for guys who are new to following a diet or eating healthy in general because it gives you more room to be flexible while still seeing the results that you want. Now, on the other end of the spectrum is the fast track, which is my exact plan that I use to get my body that I have today. During the eating periods on fasting days, the fast track plan maps out the precise macronutrients that you need to experience the most dramatic results possible. I've included the meals that I eat so you can simply follow them to a T. It's perfect for guys who are ready to commit full on to following a more specific eating schedule or for the full range of optimal results. So here's what ties both the base track and the fast track together. They both incorporate what I call my fast break strategy. Another aspect to my intermittent fasting protocol that makes it different from all the rest. This strategy uses nutrient timing to enhance the fat burning effects of your hormones, and it's all science-backed. I've built in a list of miniature meals that you can eat when the time comes to break your fast precisely at 4 p.m., which is going to extend the fat loss of your diet well into your eating period. So instead of spiking your highly sensitive insulin with junk food when it's time to break your fast, you'll have a wide variety of convenient mini meal options provided so that you can strategically maximize your results and reach your goals faster. So on top of that, no other intermittent fasting plan provides you with a scientifically sound method for working out that can actually enhance your results. My intermittent fasting course provides you with 3 specific workouts. These are phase specific, and all of them use the most efficient fat-burning training tools that are available. It's called time under tension. That way, you can maximize every minute of your workout so that you don't have to train harder, you train smarter. All of these factors contribute to why I refer to my personal intermittent fasting plan as the science-based six-pack course. Because when it comes to eating and exercising in a way to lose weight, there is not a more proven plan that is backed by science than what I've compiled in this course. Now you have 2 choices. The first choice you have right now is to spend years of studying and experimenting with fasting on your own. You would also need to practice using time under tension in your workouts and go through the trial and error of finding out what works and, quite honestly, what doesn't. Or you can simply follow the plan that I use to go from this to this. Every step I took to transform my body was written down, charted, and backed up with research so that I could be sure this was the most proven, safe, and effective method for getting into the best shape of my life. Remember, I came out of the healthcare industry. I'm big on science. I documented everything. And this entire intermittent fasting progression plan is yours for the taking. It took me years of trying different methods and sifting through clinical trials to come to the realization that there is absolutely no better way to get the real results I was looking for than to just start working with my body, not against it. The body is amazing. Let's work with it. And that's exactly what my science-based six-pack course teaches men to do. It's the first ever science-backed nutrition and exercise plan to reaching your best body yet, and keeping it that way. Look, take it from me, getting ripped abs and unleashing your masculine confidence doesn't necessarily require you to follow a strict diet or to spend hours in the gym lifting heavy weights that are going to destroy your joints. You don't need to lock yourself in the kitchen, cooking and meal prepping for the week ahead of you either. And you don't have to sacrifice your family life. In fact, you don't even have to change what you're eating. Really, just when. Plus, forget needing a gym membership. Your body alone is more than enough. I can personally attest to that. When you apply time and attention to your training, it's truly amazing. Because by putting a muscle under longer bouts of strain, you can cause extensive muscle adaptation that leads to these sleeve-busting muscles and truly looking your best. So here is what you'll get when you sign up for my science-based six-pack intermittent fasting course. First, you'll receive my 5 fasting tutorial videos, the Master Fasting Course Introduction to Intermittent Fasting. And in my Master Fasting Course video, my client Matt and I uncover the basics on intermittent fasting, the fundamental principles behind how it works, as well as we're going to cover some of the research behind what makes it by far the most effective form of fat loss for the human body. The best practices, tips, and supplements to use on a fasting diet video. In the next video, Matt digs into some critical questions regarding fasting, such as how to overcome hunger cravings, strategies to get the best results, as well as some of the best supplements to use to reach your goals even faster. The base track versus fast track, how to choose the right fasting diet for you. After that, we're diving into all the differences between the base track and the fast track plan so that when you're ready to start fasting, you'll have a complete comprehension and understanding of which plan is going to be the best fit for you to begin your transformation. Then we've got the fast track meal prep guide and recipes. You'll be able to see how I put together some incredibly tasty and convenient fast track meals, which are the actual meals that I would eat myself. So those of you who are planning on starting out with the fast track plan are going to be able to see exactly how simple it is to make macro-friendly meals, no matter how much or little cooking experience you've got. Then the next one is how to accelerate your fat loss goals with exercise. In video 5, you're going to get the breakdown on what exercises accelerate your results, which ones you need to avoid in order to support your fat loss goals. I'll give you more details on how training with the time under attention principle works with your Shred Fast workouts too, so you'll be locked and loaded and confident with the science to start training smarter instead of just harder. Along with your intermittent fasting tutorials, you'll also receive 3 phase-specific videos. Because my intermittent fasting program is broken down into 3 30-day phases, I wanted to make sure I included a highly detailed video for each phase that covers what will be expected of you as well as what results you can look forward to during that phase. That way, you'll always be on track to seeing the results you've always wanted. Plus, you'll get my 9-video Shred Fast workout series. The first 3 workout videos are designed to complement the metabolic changes your body's going to experience during the first phase of intermittent fasting. You'll get to follow along with me in these body weight scorching workouts using the time under tension 20-second interval method. Now, the next set of 3 workouts will take things to the next level with time under tension moving from 20 to 30 seconds. Plus, I've included some compound dumbbell exercises into the mix so you can start building some lean size onto your body as well. Now, the final set of 3 workouts will be the ultimate difference maker. I'll show you over 20 brand new full body exercises and throw in a full, quick burst of compound cardio to really accelerate that fat torching mechanism in your body. We'll also take the time under tension up to 40 seconds, and you'll kiss that last bit of belly fat goodbye. Now, normally, my complete intermittent fasting program is regularly priced at $297, and that's not even counting the Shred Fast workout program. However, through my own transformation, I've learned the value of having a partner when it comes to reaching your fitness goals. So that's why I'd like to be yours during the fat loss journey. I want to invest the time and the effort in you. So as a CEO, I would never invest even a penny on someone who I didn't see potential in. But here's the thing, I see potential in you. Far greater than what I even saw in myself when I first started my journey years and years ago. A potential that's 1,000 times greater than the guys who probably left this video after a few minutes because they either couldn't set their ego aside to listen to a totally new approach, or they just didn't believe enough in themselves to finally make the commitment to a darn change. But not you, you're still here because you're open to breaking the rules. You're a nonconformist like I was. The same weight loss rules that failed me and thousands of other guys out there, and perhaps even yourself. You're still here because unlike most of the other wannabes who just care about those shortcuts, you actually care about the scientific proof and the legit science behind weight loss. And by sticking with me through this video, I know that you invested your valuable time to learn how to accomplish your fat loss goals in the most proven, effective, scientific way possible. The way I see it, having someone like you on my team is quite a privilege. So for that, I'm gonna give you $200 out of my own pocket. That way you can have the entire science-based six-pack program for just $97. Now, remember that $100? The $100 that I bet you at the beginning of this video? I'm willing to bet you this $100 bill that you can break just about every diet rule out there, and not only will you lose weight, you'll even be able to get ripped six-pack abs doing it. And according to my watch, I just spent the last 30 minutes giving you the proof and the exact steps to get you there. So I guess you owe me $100. Now, I'm not going to ask you to pay up because I'm not that kind of guy. But what I will do is let you use that $100 towards your weight loss journey with my science-based six-pack course. We're partners. So if you fail, I fail. It's the way I look at it. And through my own transformation experience, I've learned that failure is simply not an option. So that means failure won't be an option for you either. You're going to be getting a couple of other things with this too. In addition to getting the videos and to getting the cooking videos, you're also going to be getting some support. We're going to be by you every step of the way. You're going to get the detailed PDFs. You're going to get a detailed login so that you can access whatever you need to be in the best possible shape of your life. Because I'm going to make your road to success way easier than it was for me by hooking you up with a free 30-day supply of 3 of the most essential supplements your body needs to reach your goals even faster. When you sign up with my science-based six-pack course today, I'm going to give you a free bottle of Alpha Armor, Alpha Meal, and Men's Elite Krill Oil. These are the supplements that I do feel that most men should be taking. But the bonuses don't stop there. I've also included a full Master Fasting course manual that you can download and print off right from the member site. This manual contains much more than just the written version of my intermittent fasting course. In this thorough guide, you will also have over 15 different recipes to get the most results during your eating periods. You're going to get alternative fast break meals that require no prep work, as well as clean desserts that you can put together in minutes. You'll also find a thorough FAQ section as well, which addresses more of the common questions that guys often have regarding intermittent fasting and the shred fast workouts. Plus, I've included many of the research citations that I've collected over the years, which support every aspect of my science-based six-pack course. That way you can review the studies yourself and feel confident that you're truly following the most proven method for fat loss. On top of that, I've also included 2 printable base track and fast track planners for you. That's why whether you want to get started fasting with the base track or the fast track plan, you'll have written instructions on how to follow the plan week by week in order to get the maximal results. These planners also include a food journal, so you can jot down what fast break meals you'll be including in your diet before the week even starts. This tool will be a big help in staying accountable on what you're eating during your eating periods on fasting days, and also what food choices you're making on the days you are not fasting. Being able to monitor your progress with a food journal is a huge difference maker, but an even bigger difference maker is being able to have on-call support to get any of your concerns and questions met, which is why at any time, if you need assistance, you can call or send an email to my team of fitness coaches, and we will get your needs met as soon as possible. So now that you've seen actual footage of how simple my science-based six-pack program is to follow, and oh man, I totally forgot to tell you about what my most successful clients thought was the hardest part of the program. Now, the most difficult part is not actually following the program, preparing that one unique fast-breaking meal, and it definitely isn't having the freedom of eating what you love. It's actually signing up and getting started for the program. You see, many of my clients have told me, even though they fact-checked everything I've mentioned, cross-referenced with other university studies, saw thousands of positive reviews online, and even know for a fact that this could be the answer to their fat loss goals, many of them hesitate because they don't have the confidence in themselves. And that's the most difficult part. Unless you have the right mentor, and that's what really helps most of my clients make the decision of getting started today. You see, I'm invested in you. I want you to get in shape for yourself, but not by yourself. Use me for support, lean on me, email me, call my coaches. I'll be there every step of the way. We'll not only create that body that you want, we'll create the confidence, the motivation, the drive that you need to experience the life that you want, not others. Just think, in an average day, you spend a majority of your time at work, supporting coworkers, supporting friends, and every dollar you make from your paychecks goes to your car payments, goes to your cell bills, your rent, and so on. But who's supporting you? With all those payments to other companies and other people, when are you going to start paying the most important person in the world? Yourself. Well, here's your chance to allow me to support you. A chance to repay yourself for all your hard work, for what you do. But this form of payment to yourself, it doesn't have to be monetary. Pay yourself with improvements to your body. I'm talking better arms, a tighter stomach. In fact, the ultimate payment would be to have six-pack abs, right? And I guarantee you that can and it will happen. if you go click the button below now. Listen, every day we have another chance to make more money or to better our bodies. And every day that passes, that chance is lost. And if you don't get started now, another chance is going to be ripped away. Then what? You go back to cooking and wasting more money on tasteless meals that you don't really want to eat. Just the thought of having to force down another bite of dry, bland chicken breast makes you want to give up altogether. You go about your day never gaining respect from other guys, and women continue not to notice you as usual. You see, like most guys, you don't even know this is happening, and it's happening right in front of you. But it's because you're so used to it by now. You're used to being typical or below average in physical appearance. You're used to wasting the best years of your life not knowing what the best you can be. And as more time passes, you're left wondering what you could have been. But by that time, chances are you'll be suffering with even more belly fat and health concerns. I really can't speak too much on what would happen if you didn't take a chance and make a change today, because like I mentioned, I made the change. Like you, I was standing at this fork in the road, choosing the road towards being happy with a new body or taking the road to continued mediocrity with even more weight and a bigger belly. But if you follow me down the road towards a new body, you can see how life-changing everything will be. New scenery, new experiences, a new and much more fulfilling life, a new outlook, a life with little to no food restrictions, a life where you won't have to dread cooking, preparing, and spending every free second worrying about the right food choices. A life where a few short workouts will yield more results than all the workouts you've been doing, slaving away in the gym in the past combined. A life where you can show off the real you. Here's your chance to create the ripped body that'll match your internal drive and your newfound confidence. Can you sense the abundant feeling of new hope? It's surging through your body, it's surging through your mind, that feeling in your gut saying this is the right move. Let's make this happen. For me, as both a humble and religious family man, I've always believed it. It was a message from God telling me to help and guide myself towards the right road. But regardless of your beliefs, you know it's time, a time for something different. You know they say to get results you've never seen, you have to do things you've never done. And I guarantee you that you've never done an entire system 100% based on science like this. From the fasting time zone, the lymphatic fat-burning workouts, and the strategically planned fast break meals that progress and change as your body excels. The entire program, along with bonuses, are the stepping stones to achieving the one goal just about every man dreams of having six-pack abs. Now for the life-changing things I've just mentioned, for me, they're not a dream. They're a reality now. And for you to make this life a reality just like I did, stop what you are doing now, click the Get Science-Based Abs button now. And I'll see you as soon as you log in to your personal members site. Still here? That must mean you've got some questions and some concerns that you'd like addressed before you commit. That's fine. So let me go ahead and get those taken care of for you right now. Question 1. What if I already am following a diet and exercise program? Will I still be able to use science-based six-pack? Absolutely. Like I said before, I've written a lot of other programs. You could even incorporate this. If you're following a diet plan like Test Max Nutrition System or the Abs After 40 or even the Six-Pack Abs program, Seniority Health programs, you can definitely still apply all the intermittent fasting approaches to your current regimen. All you'll do is simply apply the fasting schedule to your diet, starting with performing a 16-hour fast and then consuming your suggested meal within your 8-hour eating window on the 3 days you choose to fast each week. You can perform your workouts during your fasting period in the morning while you're in that fasted state. Question 2 is it really safe to not eat for 16 hours? In most circumstances, it's perfectly safe and natural for humans to survive without eating for days or even weeks on end. However, for those who have health ailments such as type 1 diabetes or who are on certain medications, fasting may not be the best approach for you. Just being honest. It's important to talk with your healthcare provider before making any changes to your nutrition plan at all. Question 3, I have 20 plus pounds of belly fat to lose. Will fasting still work for me? Yes, absolutely. The research shows that following an intermittent fasting plan works especially well for those who have more than 20 pounds of excess fat to get rid of. In fact, studies have shown that those who are extremely overweight, 50 plus pounds to obese, find that dramatic results can be experienced within the first week of fasting intermittently. Question 4, will fasting affect my testosterone levels or my sex life? Since fasting results in lower body fat levels and lower body fat levels are key to having optimal T production, you can definitely expect to increase levels of your master male hormone on this plan. And with healthy T levels, your libido is going to increase as well. Question 5, what can I consume while I'm fasting? Well, When you're in the fasted state, it's very important that you don't eat any food at all for the entire duration of the fast. It's the purpose of fasting. You definitely need to be drinking at least 8-ounce glasses of water, and you can add slices of lemon, lime, or cucumber to add a little bit of flavor. You're also free to enjoy black coffee and tea as long as you aren't adding anything to it, not even sweeteners or creamers. Keep it clean. This is because it will cause your insulin levels to rise and it will throw you out of the fasted state, which defeats the purpose of fasting in the first place. That leads into question 6. So the fast break strategy requires me to eat a specific mini meal, and then after that, I can eat whatever I want. Is this correct? Well, if you're following the base track plan, then yes, that's absolutely true, just as long as you're staying within the calorie guidelines for weight loss that I've provided. Question number 7. What do I eat on the days that I'm not fasting? Big common question. On days that you aren't following a fasting protocol, you're free to eat whatever you typically would otherwise. Question number 8. I'm really out of shape and I'm embarrassed to go to the gym. I don't have any equipment. What can I do? Simple. Well, the first phase of the Shred Fast workout really only uses bodyweight exercises to begin with, so you can perform them right at home. No equipment necessary. Question 9. So how much is the program again? And tell me again what exactly I get. The entire science-based six-pack course is $97. When you sign up, you're going to instantly receive access to all the digital fasting videos, a printable program guide, your food journal, as well as the 9-video Shred Fast workout series. Question 10. What if I don't see results or I don't like the program at all? If you aren't seeing results that you were expecting, you can reach out to my fitness coaching team and they can assess your progress and help modify the plan in a custom way that suits your needs. That's the easiest way. And if you decide that the program isn't right for you, you can contact one of my coaching representatives and we'll reimburse you with a full refund immediately, no questions asked. Question 11. I have more questions and I just feel better signing up with a live person. Is there someone that I can speak to? Absolutely. To reach out to one of my fitness coaches, just call 1-800-655-8576. Or if you're out of the US, call 855-520-7596. Now that I've answered all these questions, it looks like you've got everything that you need to get started with me. Let's do it.